Welcome to All Night Society. Listen carefully, because these stories actually happened. I met her on Tinder. Her name was Sophia. She had bright eyes and a warm smile in her pictures. We matched on a Friday night. I was bored. She seemed fun. Our chat started light. We joked about our favorite movies. She loved horror films, so did I. I thought we had a good connection. I sent her a gif of a cat jumping, and she laughed. We talked for hours. On Saturday, we continued texting. She sent me a picture of her coffee. I replied with my lunch. We chatted about music, food, and our favorite places in the city. It was easy. It felt nice to talk to her. Then things changed. It started with a simple question. What are you afraid of? I thought for a moment. I typed, probably spiders. She replied quickly, I hate them too. But I'm more afraid of the dark. I shrugged it off. It was just a funny thing to say. I sent a joke about ghosts. She didn't laugh. Instead, she said, You should be afraid. The dark hides things. Her tone felt different. I felt a chill but ignored it. The next day, she texted again. I had a bad dream last night. I asked her about it. There was a figure in my room. It watched me. I laughed it off. Sounds creepy. But she didn't respond with laughter. Instead, she said, You don't know what it's like being watched. I felt my stomach drop. I didn't want to think about that. I told her I had to go. I put my phone down. But she kept texting. You should look behind you. I laughed again, hoping to lighten the mood. I'm not scared, just tired. The screen showed. Typing. Then it stopped. I waited. No reply. Later that night, I got another message. I can see you. My heart raced. I looked around my small apartment. The lights were on. I felt uneasy. I texted back. That's not funny. She replied. It's not a joke. I'm here. I felt panic rising. I stared at my phone. Where are you? Outside your window. I froze. I lived on the second floor. I hadn't seen anyone. I got up and walked to the window. I pulled back the curtain. Slowly. Nothing. Just the streetlight casting long shadows. I felt stupid for being scared. I went back to my couch and put my phone down. I tried to watch TV, but I couldn't focus. My mind kept racing. Then my phone buzzed again. Are you sure you're alone? Now I was scared. My heart pounded. I texted a friend and asked if they could come over. I didn't want to be alone anymore. They agreed to come. While I waited, I kept my eyes on the door. I noticed every sound outside. The wind rustled the trees. A car drove by. I felt like I was in a horror movie. Then I got another message. I'm right outside. I wanted to scream. I texted back. Stop texting me. I'm calling the police. I dialed 911. My hands shook. Just as I hit call, my doorbell rang. It echoed in the quiet apartment. I jumped. Who could it be? Was it her? I looked through the peephole. A man stood there. He didn't look like Sophia. He had a large build and was wearing a hoodie. My breath caught in my throat. I backed away from the door. The sirens wailed in the distance. I felt a mix of fear and relief. I waited for the police to arrive. They got there quickly. I opened the door. They asked me what happened. I explained everything. They searched outside but found no one. I told them about Sophia. They looked at me oddly. Did you ever meet her? No. Just texts? They nodded and said, Be careful who you talk to online. You can't always know who's on the other side. I felt sick as they left. I turned off my phone. I didn't want to see any more messages from her. I spent the night on my couch, lights on, door locked. I never heard from her again. But sometimes, late at night, I think about her texts. I wonder if she really was outside. I wonder if I was ever truly alone. Before we continue, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep going. I thought I found the perfect guy on Tinder. I was wrong. I almost died that night. His name was Henry. He was 28. He had blue eyes and a nice smile. His profile said he liked dogs and hiking. We talked for 4 days. He seemed very normal. He worked in an office. He liked the same movies as me. We met on a Friday night. We went to a small coffee shop first. He wore a clean blue shirt. He smelled like laundry soap. He was polite. He paid for my drink. I felt safe. I felt happy because the date was going well. After coffee, he said, The sky is very clear tonight. Do you want to go see the stars? I know a great spot on the hill. I was having a good time. I said yes. We got into his black SUV. The car was very clean. There was a pine tree air freshener hanging from the mirror. It smelled very strong. We drove for 30 minutes. We left the city. Then we left the main road. We were on a dirt path in the woods. There were no street lights. It was very dark. I looked at my phone. I had no signal. I felt a little nervous. Is it much further? I asked. Henry did not answer. He was looking straight ahead. His hands were very tight on the steering wheel. He wasn't smiling anymore. Henry? I said. He stopped the car. He turned off the engine. It was very quiet. I could only hear the wind in the trees. He turned his head and looked at me. His eyes looked cold. Get out of the car, he said. His voice was flat. It did not sound like him. Why? What's wrong? I asked. My heart started to beat very fast. He reached into the back seat. He didn't pull out a blanket for the stars. He pulled out a roll of heavy gray tape and a long kitchen knife. Get out now, he said. I didn't wait. I grabbed my purse. I pulled the door handle, but it was locked. I hit the unlock button quickly. I jumped out of the car and ran. I didn't run down the road. I knew he could catch me in the car. I ran into the trees. It was pitch black. I tripped over a log. I scraped my palms on the dirt. I heard his car door slam shut. I heard his boots hitting the ground. He was coming after me. He didn't yell. He didn't say my name. He was silent. I found a thick bush behind a large rock. I crawled under it. I put my hand over my mouth to stay quiet. I was shaking. I heard him walking. He was close. I saw his flashlight beam dancing on the trees. The light passed right over my bush. I held my breath. Then I heard a sound. He was opening and closing the knife. He stood near the rock for 5 minutes. I stayed perfectly still. A spider crawled on my hand, but I did not move. Finally, I heard his footsteps go back toward the car. I heard the engine start. The headlights flashed through the trees. He drove away. I waited for a long time. Maybe an hour. My legs were numb. I walked back to the main road. I ran until I saw a house with a porch light on. I banged on the door. An old man opened it. He saw my face and called the police. The police went to the spot, but Henry was gone. They checked his Tinder profile. It was fake. The photos were stolen from a guy in another country. The name, Henry, was not real. I am okay now, but I moved to a new apartment. I have 3 locks on my door. Sometimes, when it is very quiet at night, I still hear that clicking sound. I never went on a Tinder date again. I matched with Sarah on Tinder one night. She was cute, funny, and we hit it off right away. After chatting for a week, we decided to meet. We agreed to go for a drive. I picked her up at her apartment around 9 p.m. The street was quiet, almost too quiet. Sarah got in. She smiled and thanked me for coming. I felt excited. We drove down empty roads, talking and laughing. The night was clear, with just a few stars visible. I liked her laugh. It made me feel good. We turned down a long, dark road. It was lined with trees and little else. I could barely see anything outside the window. Sarah noticed and joked that it looked like a horror movie. I laughed but felt a slight chill. As we drove, I felt something strange. The air felt thick, almost heavy. My skin prickled. I shook it off, telling myself it was just nerves. We played some music to fill the silence. It was nice, but the dark surroundings made me uneasy. After about 20 minutes, we came across a small, old gas station. The lights were flickering. It looked abandoned. I wanted to keep driving, but Sarah said she needed to use the restroom. I didn't like the idea, but I pulled in anyway. The station was creepy. The door creaked loudly as I opened it. Inside, it was dusty and smelled like old gas. There were no people around. I waited outside, glancing around. The only sound was the wind rustling the trees. A minute passed. Then another. I started to feel anxious. I called out for her, but no answer. I took a deep breath and went inside. The restroom door was closed. I knocked. Still nothing. Dread pulled in my stomach. I thought about leaving. Just as I turned to go, I heard footsteps. They were slow and heavy. I froze. The footsteps stopped. I peered around the corner. A man stood there, wearing a dirty coat. His eyes were wide, but he didn't look right. "Are you lost?" he asked, his voice low and raspy. I stammered, not sure what to say. I felt the urge to run. Just then, Sarah came out of the restroom. She looked confused at my expression. "William, what's wrong?" she asked, but the man's eyes were fixed on her. "Is this your girlfriend?" he asked, still staring. Before I could respond, Sarah squeezed my hand. "Let's go, William," she said, her voice shaking. I nodded, pulling her toward the door. The man stepped closer, blocking our way. "You shouldn't be out here at night," he said, almost whispering. My heart raced. I pushed past him, pulling Sarah with me. We ran to the car, hearts pounding. I fumbled with the keys, my hands shaking. The man shouted behind us, but we didn't look back. Finally, I got the car started. We sped away, leaving the flickering lights behind. The darkness felt heavy again, but we were safe in the car, together. "Did that really just happen?" Sarah asked, looking at me wide-eyed. "Yeah," I replied, trying to catch my breath. We drove in silence for a long time, neither of us knowing what to say. The night felt like it would never end. I had wanted a nice night out, but all I could think was, what if we hadn't left? Sometimes, the night hides more than just darkness. It hides danger. And sometimes, a simple drive can turn into a nightmare. I matched with a girl named Clara on Tinder. Her photos looked normal. She had brown hair and liked cats. We talked for 2 days. She seemed nice. We agreed to meet for dinner on a Tuesday night. I went to a small Italian place called Mario's. I got there 5 minutes early. Clara was already sitting at a table in the corner. She wore a bright yellow dress. When I walked up, she looked at me and smiled. It was a very big smile. I could see all of her teeth. I sat down and said hello. She didn't say hello back right away. She just kept smiling. "It's nice to meet you, Mike," she finally said. The smile didn't go away. Her lips stayed pulled back. Her gums were showing. I thought maybe she was just nervous. I laughed and looked at the menu. The waiter came over. I ordered a beer and a pepperoni pizza. Clara ordered water and a garden salad. While the waiter talked, Clara never looked at him. She stared at me. She kept that same big smile on her face. "How was your day?" I asked. "It was perfect," she said. Her voice was very flat. "I waited for this dinner all day." I tried to tell her about my job at the warehouse. I talked for about 10 minutes. Usually, people nod or ask questions. Clara did nothing. She just sat perfectly still. Her big, white teeth stayed visible. Her eyes were wide. She didn't even blink. The food arrived. I started eating. I was hungry, but I felt uncomfortable. Clara didn't touch her salad. She didn't even move her fork. She just watched me chew. "Aren't you going to eat?" I asked. "I like watching you," she said. That made my skin crawl. I dropped my pizza. I looked at her eyes. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes looked angry. They were cold. It looked like her face was a mask that was stuck. I noticed something then. Her face was shaking. The muscles in her cheeks were twitching because she was holding the smile so hard. A small string of spit ran down her chin. She didn't wipe it away. "I think I should go," I said. "I don't feel very well." "You haven't seen my gift yet," she said. The smile got even wider. It looked like it hurt. I stood up. "I put $20 on the table for my pizza. I'm leaving, Clara. Take care." I walked out of the restaurant fast. I didn't look back. I got into my car and locked the doors. My heart was beating very fast. I drove home and tried to forget about it. I got to my apartment. I walked inside and locked the door. I sat on my couch to catch my breath. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message from Clara on Tinder. It was a photo. The photo was taken from under the dinner table at the restaurant. It showed my legs in her lap. In the photo, Clara was holding a long, sharp kitchen knife. It was resting on her napkin. Under the photo, she sent one more text. You didn't stay for dessert. I'm standing outside your building now. I am still smiling. I looked at my front door. I saw the handle turn slowly. I called the police. I am still waiting for them. I can hear someone scratching at the wood, and I know she is doing it while she smiles. I met Liam on Tinder last June. His profile was basic. He had 3 photos. In the first one, he was hiking. In the second, he was holding a golden retriever. In the third, he was wearing a suit at a wedding. He looked kind. We talked for 2 weeks. He was funny but not pushy. He told me he worked in insurance. He said he liked to cook Italian food. Everything felt normal. Our first date was at a coffee shop. It was a Tuesday afternoon. He wore a gray sweater. He arrived 5 minutes early. He bought my coffee and pulled out my chair. He was the perfect gentleman. We started seeing each other every weekend. He was very private. He never took photos of us. He said he didn't like social media. I thought that was cool. It felt more private. One Friday, he invited me to his house for dinner. He lived in a quiet neighborhood. His house was very clean. There were no pictures on the walls. The air smelled like lemon cleaner. He was making spaghetti in the kitchen. He realized he didn't have any red pepper flakes. I'll be back in 5 minutes, he said. The store is just around the corner. He left. I sat on his sofa. I felt a bit bored. I looked at the coffee table. There was a small wooden box under some magazines. I opened it. Inside the box, there was an old wallet. It was worn out. I opened the wallet. There was an ID card inside. The name on the card was not Liam. The name was David Miller. The face on the card was definitely Liam, but he had a beard in the photo. I felt a weird knot in my stomach. Why did he have a fake name? I took out my phone. I typed David Miller into Google. Nothing happened. Then I typed David Miller arrested. A news article popped up from 5 years ago. It was from a town 3 states away. The headline said, Man escapes charges in disappearance of girlfriend. I clicked the link. There was a photo of Liam. He looked exactly the same. The article said a girl named Amelia went missing after a date with him. They found her car. But they never found her. David Miller changed his name and disappeared before the police could talk to him again. My hands started to shake. I heard a car door slam outside. I looked back in the box. Under the wallet, there was a small silver earring. It was a small heart. It looked old. It didn't belong to me. I heard the front door unlock. I'm back! Liam, or David, called out. I quickly shut the box and put the magazines back. My heart was hitting my ribs. I tried to act normal. I stood up and went into the kitchen. He was smiling. He held up a small jar of pepper flakes. Ready to eat? He asked. He looked at me. His eyes went from my face to the living room, then back to my face. His smile didn't reach his eyes anymore. You look pale, he said. He walked closer. He felt very tall. Did you touch something you shouldn't have? He moved toward the door and turned the deadbolt. The click was very loud in the quiet house. I looked at the kitchen counter. There was a long bread knife sitting next to the stove. I forgot I have a headache, I said. My voice was thin. I think I should go home. He didn't move away from the door. He just stood there. He looked at the wooden box on the coffee table. He knew. The pasta is almost done, he said. His voice was very flat. You're not leaving yet. I realized then that nobody knew I was at his house. I hadn't told my friends his last name. I didn't even know his real name until 3 minutes ago. He took a step toward me. I reached for my phone in my pocket, but I was shaking too much. Sit down, he said. I didn't sit. I ran for the back door in the kitchen. I didn't care about my purse. I just ran. He grabbed my arm, but I hit him with a heavy ceramic jar of sugar. It broke on his shoulder. He hissed in pain and let go. I fumbled with the back door lock. I got it open. I ran through his backyard and over a wooden fence. I didn't stop running until I reached a gas station 2 blocks away. I called the police. When they went to the house an hour later, he was gone. The house was empty. Even the wooden box was gone. I deleted Tinder that night. Sometimes I still see a gray sweater in a crowd and I can't breathe. I never found out what happened to Amelia. I just know I was almost next.